Hi, this is Brahmanaidu. Welcome to SFDC scenarios. Today we are going to see how to display the error messages in Lightning Web Component. In this scenario, what we'll do is we will create two input fields and we'll create one button along with the input fields. Once the user clicks on a button, then we are going to validate the input fields. Okay, let's say user doesn't enter any value for the first thing. Okay, so then in that case, we are going to display inline error message for the first thing. Okay, so let's get started. I'm creating a component, Lightning Web component. Let me create a Lightning Web component. Okay, so let me name it validation. Okay, form validation component. Okay, so this is a JS and this is a HTML. And the HTML, I'm going to create two input fields and a button. Okay, so let me create two input fields first. Lightning input type equal to text and the label equal to first name. Let me close this tag. Okay, and let me create one more input field. Lightning input type equal to text and label equal to last name. Okay, and let me create a button as well. Lightning button label equal to validate. So on clicking of this button, we are going to validate the input fields. Handle validate is a method. Once we click on a button, then this method will get executed. Okay, so let me push this code to the source R. Okay, now what I'll do is I'll go to the JS and let me write a method. Let me write the functionality in this method, handle validate. Okay, so now I want to get the values of two input fields. If it is a, since we have two input fields, right? So we are going to make the use of query selector all. In the query selector all, I'm going to query all the input fields. Okay, so let me write that. So this dot template, I'm referring to the template. From the template, I'm making the use of query selector all. We are going to query all the input fields. Okay, and for each item, so item is just a reference. Let's say if you want to get the value of a label, then you can get it by using label. Let's say I want to get the value of an input field, then we can make the use of item. Okay, let's see how to get the label value. Let me create a variable to store the value of a label, item dot label. Okay, so let me create one more variable to store the value of input field, item dot value. Okay, if there is no value to the input field, then we are going to display the inline error message. Okay, so we have two input fields, right? So now what I'll do is I'll create JSON array. Okay, in this JSON array, I'll create label as a key, value as error message. Since we have two input fields, I'm going to create two keys and two values. Okay, so the first one is for first name. Okay, and this is a key. Let's say if user doesn't enter any value, then we are going to display the error message. Please enter the first name. Okay, further similarly, we'll be doing it for last name as well. Okay, let's say if user doesn't enter any value for the last name, we are going to display this error message. Please enter the last name. Okay, that's it. Now, if there is no value, then what we'll be doing is we will be displaying the error message. Okay, at specific particular input field. Okay, if it is a first name, then we are going to display this error message. If it is the last name, then we are going to display this name. Okay, so now what I'll do is I'll make the use of custom validity, set custom validity. Okay, and I'll refer to this JSON array. Okay, so if you want to refer to this variable, then we have to make the use of on this property, this dot errors of. Okay, so if it is a first name, then we have to put the first name. If it is a last name, then we have to put the last name, right? So we already got the label value here. We are storing the label value in the label. Okay, so now what I'll be doing is I'll be just putting the label here. Let's say if it is related to the first name, then sorry, let me. Okay, so it will pick label first name. Let's say if it is related to last name, then it will pick last name, right? So let's say if let's say user enter all the values, okay, for the first name and the last name, then in that case we are not supposed to display an error message as per the scenario, right? So here I'm going to clear the error message. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll make the use of a similar method, but here I'm going to set it to blank since I don't want to display any error. And we have to use report validity as well. If you don't use this, we are not able to display the error messages properly, right? So I'll be using report validity as well. Let me push this code to the source arc. So component name is form validation component. Let me deploy it to the source arc. It's deploying. Okay, we are successfully able to deploy the code to the source arc. Now let me go back to the Salesforce console. And what I'll do is I'll just create Lightning application in order to see the output of Lightning web component. So this is a validation. Let me create an app. Okay, so let me put extends here, extends equal to force.slds so that it will acquire the properties of Lightning design system. And let me, so what is our component name? Form validation component, right? So let me put the component name here, form validation component. Okay, so let me click on preview. Okay, so now what I'll do is I'll just simply click on validate, right? So we are getting an error. This dot template dot. Okay, so typo mistake. Now what I'll do is let me go back to the VS Code and I have missed Y here. Okay, let me deploy it to the source arc. Okay, so let me reload it. Okay, now I'm going to click on validate. See, the error message is coming. This is for first name and this is for the last name. Now what I'll do is I'll just enter some value for the first name, right? Let me click on validate. Now this error message is not coming because we have already entered a value to the first name. Now what I'll do is I'll enter something, some value for the last name. See, it is working, right? I That's it. That's it from my end. Hope you understand the session. Thanks for watching my video. If you like the content in my channel, please subscribe and share it to your friends. Thank you guys.